Hi, and welcome back. It is day 5 of our Standout Spark to Scale Challenge, and today is it. We are all about talking about sustainability. So this week, you've had the opportunity to move from a kernel of an idea into today's final focus of getting into some consistent action after this. My guess is you have really gotten some clarity. You've got a lot of notes. We've done a lot of creative activities, and hopefully you have some further clarity on what it is that you want to be bringing out into the world. Today's focus is what can you do? What will you do to keep this spark alive and growing? And I think this is a really important piece. So many of my coaching clients come to me because they want accountability. They can do so much by themselves, and we can do a lot by ourselves, but are we going to keep this going? And that's why today it's all about sustainability, and it's all about your commitment to yourself, etc. So I want to read a quote from the Scottish Highland, um, which was part of the Scottish Himalaya expedition many, many moons ago, and it's attributed to William Hutchinson Murray. So this is really important, I think, as we step into our final day of this process. As he wrote, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. And so, again, whether you're looking at doing something big or small, something old or new, there are some amazing things that start unfolding when you get 100% behind it. A part of that is really making sure that you've set yourself up for success. So today is all about sustaining the action. And I really want to invite you to grab your journal again, maybe even pause this to take a look back at what you've created this week, because there's been some really amazing nuggets. So as we get into that, here's our journey from the week. We started 5 days ago looking at creating that initial spark, like a matchstick. What was that initial idea? I want you to go back to your notes that day. We did some mind mapping. We had you pick an image. I also invited you to think about who you are designing for. I was looking at Mary the Manager, and we had a couple of dice prompts. What's next? Let it flow. Or it was really not the let it flow. That was my reaction, but it was release valve and then influence. Day 2, we looked at our containers. Think about what your container was and what it looked like and what it represented. We really then wanted to think about this idea and what's the container of getting it out into the world? If you're a writer, is it a new one pager? If you're a coach, is it setting up some new conversations or doing a new speaking engagement or podcast? If it's an entrepreneur, is it having a new lead magnet? From there, in day 2, we then got clarity on our shape or shapes, how and what vehicles we would use to get the work out into the world. And that built on to day 3 of our share, the who and how. Who did you need to activate? Who do you need to work with? And how might you do that? What will the sharing look like? And like these little bubbles, the sharing, as we looked at that day, and I'm just going back to my notes here for our focus on that day. We've got shape, we've got share. And as we looked at share, we had getting unstuck, project management, networking. That was our first day 2. Then day 3, we had this was a great one. We had the sailboat, the shovel, the clothespins. We had the pizza cutter and the crown. I asked you to think about what you were yearning for and the vehicle you wanted to take on the journey and what that journey would look like. We looked at problem solving and practices and commitment and empathy. And empathy was something that carried forward into day 4, but so was this commitment to your journey, because in day 3, the sharing was getting you to start thinking about what was the micro experience that you wanted to create. And that led me to offer a bonus on experience design. I hope that whoever completes the challenge all 5 days notes it, that you're going to enjoy the experience design work that I get to do with you as part of this grand prize giveaway this fall. I shared a little bit about what experience design is and also got you thinking about your journey map. So it's been a breezy week. I hope that you've been able to hear me okay as we've gone. Yesterday, we were all about the scale. And that was about expansion. It was really about growing from kernel of idea to full grown plant. Interestingly, we had words like productive, not busy, circadian rhythm, and troubleshooting. So that has brought us to today. Yesterday was about being courageous and making that bold ask. Maybe you went out into the world and did that. Certainly, if it hasn't happened yet, it will happen soon. And that's part of, you building out your sustainability plan. What are the steps? What are the actions you want to take? And what support do you need? I want to just spotlight how much can get done in 5 days. And this is where I love my work. And certainly in programs like Amplify and the biz development labs, like we can get so much done in the course of a week if we're really focused. Now, does it mean we're working that way every day? No. That's why with the writers in the intensive, we're doing a 90-day process to really get you from idea over and through the meandering world, right? I said in sustain, it's not a direct path always. There's a lot of loops. But if we can really have the guardrails, have those start and ends, it can make a significant difference. So we're going to do another image prompt today. I also want to bring forward, we've done some charms. One thing we haven't used, I want to go into my little box. We haven't used the journaling prompts that many of you enjoy. So I thought maybe we could just randomly pick 2 journaling prompts, use it as our start. Love this. I'm really pleased with. Take 30 seconds right now as you think about what you've accomplished this week, what clarity you've gained. What are you pleased with? Take 45, 35, 40 seconds to just think about that and write it down. Part of the journey and sustainability is making sure that we do take time to celebrate, that we do acknowledge how much learning, insight, and action has happened. I would invite you to go back to the recordings. I'd invite you to go to the live calls if you weren't able to join us as well. So that is, I'm really pleased with, and I'm going to grab a second one. This summer, I want to. So, whatever season you're in this season, I want to. I actually want to invite you to think about the next 90 days. And for a moment, just close your eyes and think about what momentum you've created here. What if you were to continue this trajectory over the next 90 days? What could your work look like? What could your connections look like? What could your body of work look like? It's possible because think about where you were this time last week. You might not have even had a fully formed notion of what you were going to focus on. You might have just heard about this. But look at the clarity you've gotten for 5 days of action, consistent action, 30 to 60 days, hours, minutes a day. So, next 90 days, what do you want to do? I want you to put your stake in the ground. This is part of that commitment. The universe can help you determine how it's going to play out, right? Many times we don't know where we're going to go, but we know we want to go somewhere. But we may hold ourselves back because perhaps in the past we've been disappointed. Perhaps in the past we've been unsuccessful. Well, success is not a straight path. We got to start somewhere. So I want you to be bold with yourself. Courageous was part of our focus yesterday. What is the bold something you want to be focusing on? By the end of 90 days, I want to blank, blank, blank. Take a minute and write it down. Be bold. All right. So that might have felt a little scary. Maybe it felt very liberating. Again, there's going to be a range of emotion when we start to stretch ourselves. Maybe the pathway is clear. I know for me, certainly it is clear. I have clarity on what I hope that our business, and not what I hope, what I intend our business will be doing this fall. I look back to all of the year, and as much as it's been a disrupted year in the greater scheme of the world, we've done some really exciting things. And I'm excited to have brought many of them to you this challenge over the last 5 days. This time last year, the Conversation Sparker Experiential Roadshow didn't even exist. I don't even know if we'd booked. I don't think we'd even booked the trip back to Barbados for February, where I got to work with so many of you in our Make It Stick memorability workshop. The experience design piece of the business wasn't as firm as it is now. And certainly the work that I'm doing with multiple teams over the course of a year wasn't also there. Our Amplify program was still in a very, very beta, and it's going to be starting again in a month. And with the writing process, I'm excited because, again, that didn't exist this time last year. We built it out. I built it out this year. And with NaNoWriMo no longer being in existence, it's so important, I feel, for writers to have a space where they can come practice their craft, not just in the month of November, but over time, because as a creator myself, as an author myself, I know how important it is to really have that dedicated space and time. And if we don't make space, it's unlikely to happen. So I hope this week has been inspiring. We've got one more inspirational area for you, but I do want to spend just a few minutes talking about pathways and your next steps. Again, it would really be an honor to support you in your next phase of the journey. I know so many of you have joined us for Group Coaching Essentials, even the entire 70 and 125-hour pathway at GroupCoachingEssentials.ca. The learning of a group coach or a team coach doesn't end. And that's why I continue to do work in these other areas, right? The writing path. I know so many of you want to get a book out or get your next book out. So maybe you will join us starting on Labor Day and through the fall, right up to November 30th, when we're going to be taking consistent action around your next book or your first book. That is going to be an exciting process to work very closely with a handful of you in the Writing Sparker Intensive. Again, we kick off on Labor Day. For those that want to amplify their business, whether you're new to a coaching business, you're new to a service-based business, digital business, Amplify is coming back. And that consists of 2 calls every week. Monday, consistently 10:30 to 11 a.m. planning, and then a Tuesday call this week to really get you into growing your business in 6 core areas. Finally, for leaders and teams, so excited to be working with all of you in long-term programming. So if you're interested in any of those or any of these fall programs, please let me know. Reach out, set up a call, or head on over to GroupCoachingEssentials.ca to register. We'd love to support you in the journey. I want to get to now to sustain. What's it gonna take to sustain your work? And so we have some more images here, 15 more images. I want you to grab one. First minute is going to be sketching it out, and then I'll come back on with some questions. So pick your image for sustain. What's going to sustain this? What's going to take you from the initial spark into a full-blown reality? As you look at this image, what is clear for you and what is not part of the picture? Takes 30 seconds to note those down. As you look at that image, what kind of energy is available for you as you springboard or continue your momentum in the future? And final question for you to explore as you look at your image. What's available to you now? What's available to set yourself up for your pathway or pathways for success? So, another amazing image to add to your image portal. I just want you to flip back in your notebook. Take a look right now at the image you chose in day one. If you've written it down, what is the notation? Is there a connection? Take a look at day two. Again, we had a different image. It was about your shape, your container. Day 3, we moved on. It was about sharing and who you wanted to share with. We might have done the bonus journey. And then yesterday, we did yet another image set. And finally, with this. So lots of ideas. And now the rubber needs to hit the road. What can you do to target all these great ideas into that centerpiece? Because it's not just about divergence, it's about convergence. And I think commitment really calls all the forces in. You are active as well in calling all the forces in. What's going to help amplify and activate and get you into that success flow? I'm going to leave us with one last set of image prompts. I'm going to go back to the yellow ones because they're the end of the process. The last 15 days from day 90 through to day 72. Let's see what images or prompts come up from this. So we have integration. Love that one. And I do hope that today is going to be a day for you to spend a little bit of time afterwards at integration. We also have number 78, your support network, right? Your support network, excuse me. And also we have the briefcase. And the briefcase is what doesn't get scheduled, doesn't get done. What doesn't get scheduled, doesn't get done. So some images for you to consider. What doesn't get scheduled, doesn't get done, support network, and integration. I want to leave you with 2 minutes to reflect on those 3 images. It's really been a pleasure to support you over the course of this week. I hope that it's inspired some new energy for you. I hope that it's given you some clarity. And I want to take us back to the commitment. I know that you are always committed, but what can you do to continue to lean into it? Because as William Murray said, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth that the moment one definitely commits to oneself, then providence moves too. So, regardless of our belief system, whatever higher power, whatever universal fact, what can you do to set yourself up for success this fall? A pleasure. And I've really enjoyed our time. I look forward to keeping the conversation going with you. And thank you again. I hope this is a resource you can share with others and you can pass on. And you can always set up a call with me at any time during the year. Mondays and Tuesdays, I host 15-minute calls. Let's come together and talk about what's next for you in your journey. All right, everyone, be well and continue to make tremendous impact in the world. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.